Well, Ken, it
So
sounds a bit like it was designed by a psychopath with very little understanding of political history, no idea what they're doing, no real plan for how this will work in practice. And it certainly, as you said, is not a democratic process or in any way conceivable that you could even make sure it doesn't be corrupt, because there are no checks and balances in a system like this. I mean, are we looking at a run-of-the-mill racial bureaucracy here that has very little relation to democracy?
Well, what I've talked about in the article, and which I find interesting, is if a lot of the debate so far has been about, well, look, 4% of the population will control the 100% of the situation. But let's look at it from the perspective: is this a truly representative voice for Indigenous people? There are over 900,000 Indigenous people in Australia. Will this actually be a voice for them? I think that's a terribly important issue, and it's an issue that the report and the proposal doesn't address. We don't know. And it smacks of a process by which very small numbers of people can wind up being in very powerful positions, alleging that they represent the entire Indigenous population. And that assumption can't be sustained through what the proposal is. If I go a step further on it, which also I find interesting, is that of the 24 people who'll be on the Voice, the National Voice, all of those people will be part-time except for two. The co-chairs, one male and one female, will be the only full-time people. Now, that's really going to create a situation, in my view, with an enormous concentration of power in the hands of two people, the two co-chairs. They will be fully paid, full-time and fully resourced. The rest of the people on The Voice will all only be part-time and not paid other than for expenses and attending meetings and preparation time. So it looks like a process to create a huge concentration of power in a very small number of hands. So someone could work with the smaller states that only have 18% of the population, get the majority of votes on the Voice, get themselves elected and selected as the chair or co-chair, and you've got a very powerful two people.